The New Ultimate Universe, Part 2, Wake Up. Welcome back to the series, everyone. Now that we're through the invasion, here's how this is going to work going forward. I've broken up the story of the Ultimate Universe into equal chunks of time, with each part covering 4 months of comics as well as 4 months of time within the Ultimate Universe. So, let's get started with Ultimate Spider-Man, number 1, January 2024. Peter Parker remarks that he isn't getting any younger. 20 years ago, the Maker prevented an irradiated spider from biting him, and now he's a man in his 30s with 2 children, May and Richard, and a wife, Mary Jane Parker. Not a toy kiddo. At the Daily Bugle, Parker! Parker! Oh, hey Peter. Hey boss, how are... No time for chit-chat. Parker! Parker! Uncle Ben is still alive. And not only that, he's the managing editor of the Daily Bugle. Jonah and Ben discuss that afternoon's meeting before Peter follows to pick up Ben. On their way out the door, Jameson talks to Peter about how Uncle Ben is feeling and insists on helping Peter put on a proper tie, but he wants it back later. Peter asks Ben how he's feeling, saying that everyone is worried, and Ben tells him to be honest and cut to it, to which Peter says that he's worried about Ben and that he won't talk about what happened. Uncle Ben asks Peter if there's a day that goes by when he doesn't miss his parents, having come to live with May and Ben when he was 15. No. Then you know exactly how I feel. They are at the memorial for those lost in the destruction of Stark Tower. Father Matthew Murdoch leads the gathered mourners with kind words before letting Harry Osborn onto the stage to speak. Thank you, Father. Emotional day. And Father Murdoch is right. The air is thick with memories. The one I keep thinking of, what I can't seem to stop thinking of, is from when I was 7. It was the first time my dad played catch with me. Now, I don't really like baseball, and he didn't like baseball, but there it is, haunting me. And it wasn't until today, really, that I figured out why. It's because, at that moment, the entire world was just the ball, me, and my dad. Like, that was the only thing that mattered. Like, I was the most important person in the world. And now I'll never be able to make another memory like that with him. We all lost someone. Mothers, fathers, siblings, sons and daughters, and like Father Murdoch said, they will live on in our hearts. We will always remember them, but I have to be honest. I'm not sure that I'll ever be able to move on or get better, because when I'm all alone in the quiet of the night, isn't angels that I hear singing. I hear a ball hitting a glove. I hear screams and sirens. I hear all of us crying out in pain because a part of our future was stolen. In exchange, all we got were memories. It's just not enough, and I'm not sure any of us should be expected to live with it. After leaving the memorial, Ben and Peter return to the Bugle to find Triple J quitting. Ben enters the meeting room and Robbie Robertson informs him that there's going to be some structural change following how closely the Bugle has tried to investigate the Stark Tower attack. Their new management, Wilson Fisk, sits at the end of the table telling Ben that he should be pleased. Nature pours a vacuum and there's a new position open for him as Jameson just quit. Ben just smiles and leaves. So, what are we gonna do now? Elsewhere in the city, Wilson Fisk exits his car before their car is bombed by a man in a green and purple armor uniform riding on a hover glider. At a bar with no name, Ben and JJJ discuss their future, saying that the news is all they're good at. Ben says they'll do it better this time by telling the truth. Jonah says the business is too dirty for the truth, but they could promise not to lie, and Ben drinks to that. Peter arrives and he and Ben get talking. Peter admits that he's felt dissatisfied with his life, and Ben tells him that if he feels like he's sleepwalking through the world, then it's time to wake up. At home, Peter checks in with Richard before sitting down with Mary Jane and telling her as well that he feels he has a change to make. She says she's recognized this discontent, but if he knows what he has to do and that it's not going to change things between them, then go get him, Tiger. Peter walks onto the roof holding the glass orb May noticed this morning, and we flash back to last night. A box, accompanied by a hologram of Tony Stark, is teleported into the Parker residence. The hologram of Tony explains that Peter's life was meant to be different, and that the spider was meant to bite him all those years ago. In the present, Peter stands on the roof as the glass orb opens to reveal a Picotech supersuit and the fateful spider. You were supposed to have a different life, Peter Parker. You were supposed to protect the innocent, save lives, and inspire the citizens of the world to be their best selves. And instead, all of that was taken from you. These people stole your future. These people robbed you of your destiny. The question is, do you want it back? I want it. Then wake up and go get him, Tiger. Ultimate Spider-Man number 2, February. Over breakfast, May and Richard Parker discuss the photographs of the man in the black costume that's been seen around the city, with May thinking that he looks scary and Richard doubting he's even real. Peter reassures them both, and MJ asks if Peter's been working out. Peter's been learning the ropes of his new powers in the months since gaining them. He's noticed an increased appetite, a reduced need to sleep, and the power to stick to walls. He's super strong, super agile, with crazy reaction time and spatial awareness. However, he's still working on stopping, which has led him to his final change so far. He can take a beating. A serious beating. Could come in handy. At a bathhouse, Triple J and Ben discuss Jonah's habit of having nothing but a cup of coffee for breakfast for the last 20 years, before turning to the subject of another attack on Wilson Fisk, the third attempt in the last 3 weeks from the same armored vigilante we saw last issue. They also note that the black suit vigilante is being shown off in the papers while the armored one is being suppressed. Finally having a story to work, the two are inspired to get to business. Peter swings through the city, contemplating the youth he lost. So, here's an existential question. If the life you had stolen from you 20 years ago was suddenly given back to you, are you obligated to try and relive some version of it? Because if you did feel like you had to relive that life, wouldn't you be 20 years behind the curve for forever or something like that? I mean, I'm a smart guy, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to do now. The world is different. I'm different. If only there was a sign. Huh? Peter notices a criminal wearing high-tech gauntlets attempting to break into a building. Let me guess. Lost your keys, or got locked out on the roof, or are you maybe trying to break into the bank below? What are you supposed to be? It's amazing that you asked me that, because I was just having that same discussion myself. What? You know, what am I supposed to be? I mean, I admit I'm struggling with it a bit, but well, I saw you and what you were doing, and I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be the guy who stops people like you. Ever done anything like this before? No? First time? Well, you're a natural at it. Thanks. You're welcome. So I guess I'll go home now. Clearly, whatever I had planned was wrong, and I'd like to thank you for stopping me before I did something I'd regret. Wait, seriously? Yeah, seriously. I didn't want to do this, I'm just desperate. But there's always another way, right? So I want to thank you for what you've done today, for stopping me. I owe you. Sure, anytime, Mr. Just call me the Shocker! Ow! Peter returns home fresh from his beating to eat some feel-better ice cream, but is caught by May. Before she can start crying, Peter calms her by telling her about the spider and asks her to keep this their little secret for now. She also says she doesn't like the costume, which Peter says they can work on. At the Kingpin's penthouse, he is hosting Captain Britain, ruler of this portion of North America. Kingpin explains that he's been boosting the Masked Man story to downplay the armor vigilante, and Captain Duggery chides him for playing too soft still. This is not some normal man who plays by the normal rules. He's powerful, maybe more powerful than you imagined, but not me. I see the full measure of my land and the full measure of the enemy at my walls. Because I do not play king, I am one. Then act like it. You'll have been given great resources. I suggest you use them. Peter, on patrol, runs into the Shocker again and gets into a fight much more readily this time. Who are you? Oh, come on, we covered this already. I'm the guy who stops people like you. I think you broke my ribs. Sorry about that, I don't know my own strength. My wife. It's my wife. She's dying. We don't have the money, and so we can't pay for the treatments she needs. She needs this. I don't have any other choice. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't imagine you must... Wait, is that true? What do you think? Oh man, not again! After Peter makes it back home. So, in the last few days, I've not only managed to get my butt kicked, twice, but I also accidentally revealed my secret identity to my kid. Worse than that, I scared her. Not good, Peter. Not at all. Face it, you might not be cut out for this. Or maybe I'll give it one more day. Ultimate Black Panther, #1. In West Africa, a group of laborers are working before being attacked by the forces of Moon Knight, the collective name for the twin brothers Khonshu and Ra of the Maker's Council, as well as the name of their organization. Two Wakandan spies watch the carnage from the woods, unable to act, but saying Wakanda's justice comes for them all. King T'Challa of Wakanda awakens from a nightmare in a separate bed to his wife Okoye, the former general of the Dora Milaje, and seizing on a comment she makes about how their marriage is seen by the people, says the traditions must change. T'Challa first seeks counsel with his father, former King T'Chaka, before turning to the priestesses of the Voodoo Khan, who have advised Wakanda since its inception, led by Matron Amala, the sacred mother of the Voodoo Khan. You dream of pain, King T'Challa. Suffering. And what does that teach you? I learned from books, not dreams. You underestimate dreams, King T'Challa. The two soldiers who witnessed Moon Knight's attack report to T'Challa, Okoye, and Princess Shuri, saying it was hard not to intervene. T'Challa tells his wife and sister that his armies will remain still. Not that they would not act, but they would not rashly enter this war. Shuri speaks with Ebony, captain of the Dora Milaje, about how she wishes her military creations could be used for some good in the world outside Wakanda. Back in West Africa, a boy is confronted by a squadron of Moon Knight, but is rescued by a warrior known as Killmonger and a woman of lightning known as the Wind Rider. At the annual Wakandan celebration of life, a suicide bomber from Moon Knight kills T'Chaka, T'Challa's father, while attempting to kill them both. At this unprecedented aggression from within their own borders, T'Challa sees only one path before him. Call the Queen, and my sister, and the Voodoo Khan. Our enemy calls themselves Moon Knight. Wakanda is at war. Ultimate Spider-Man number 3. March. Alright, then let's hear it. What's going on? Nothing. And if by nothing May means the simple enjoyment of some solid daddy-daughter time, then yes, absolutely nothing. Maybe the two of you are up to something and you're just deflecting. It's a real thing, I read about it in a book once. Outside, Peter begins trying out costume configurations for the Pagotech suit that Tony gave him, with May offering critique, and we get some fun Easter eggs. Firstly, a variant of the black suit with webbing Spider-Man design, possibly inspired by the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3. A gray and red variant of the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider hoodie costume, an orange and red variation of Spider-Man 2099's costume, a blue and black variant of a normal Spider-Man costume, before finally settling on the red and blues that we all know and love. Spider-Man's got his costume. Later, Triple Jameson and Ben move into their new, run-down office space, with Peter visiting and noticing their story map for the recent happenings in New York, like the activities of the Kingpin and of these new vigilantes in town. Peter says that the new armored vigilante has picked up the moniker of the Green Goblin from people at the Daily Bugle, but that the higher-ups keep killing the story to push the Black Suit Man instead. Ben and Jonah decide that they have to learn more about all of this, which worries Peter. Peter goes for a stakeout. The stakeout takes several days, and Peter learns some valuable lessons about how different stakeouts are to TV, but just before he gives up, he senses something is about to happen. The Green Goblin appears, chasing after an acrobatic assassin of the Kingpin, and Peter joins the pursuit. The assassin, one of many known as Bullseye, takes Goblin out of the air. The Goblin demands to know who Bullseye is, and Bullseye teases him, saying that he belongs to the true powers behind the world, referring to the Maker's Council. Peter intervenes, and Bullseye retaliates, using his razor-sharp playing cards to take down the construction site they were fighting in all around them. In the wreckage, there's a final exchange of blows before Peter knocks Bullseye out cold. The Green Goblin thanks Peter for his help before complimenting his suit, and mentioning that the technology is proprietary. The Green Goblin uses his suit to override Peter's, unmasking him. Instead of going to the police, though, the Goblin unmasks himself as Harry Osborn, and asks if he wants a drink to talk about the world they've both stepped into, which Peter accepts. Ultimate Black Panther, Issue 2. In the months since the bombing, Wakanda's police have turned inward to root out potential traitors, sowing discontent among the people. Okoye accuses T'Challa of fear. And what am I afraid of, my queen? What all men fear, that what they are will never be good enough. Your burden is great. You must honor your father. You must protect your people and your nation. You must be their king and their night warrior. T'Challa, you are what Wakanda needs. T'Challa seeks counsel from the Voodoo Khan. Matron Amala tells him of a prophecy about his potential heir with a woman of light, a child Wakanda has awaited for generations. Outside the borders, Dora Milaje clash with Moon Knight troops, with T'Challa dropping in with one of Shuri's war mechs to turn the tide. Secretly, a traitor from within Wakanda has been communicating with Moon Knight and allowed them to enter to cause the bombing. T'Challa has a private meeting with his closest advisors, and the two scouts from Issue 1 direct him to a region with unusual animal activity, seeking their enemy's location. T'Challa goes out on this mission alone, but is shot down. Before the situation can get truly ugly, though, he's rescued by Wind Rider, aka Aurora, aka Storm, who T'Challa reactively calls the Woman of Light. Ultimate X-Men, number 1. In Heat no Kuni, the land once known as Japan, we meet young Hisako, about to attend middle school graduation. After being possibly pranked by a classmate who passes her a second button from a boy's uniform, a romantic gesture, we see that she is shunned by her classmates due to her truancy and her depression. After following the note that was tucked into the button to meet a friend at a temple, she is confronted by the Shadow King, a menacing silhouette that taunts her before giving her an omamori, a type of luck charm which horrifies her with memory. Tsubasa, a friend of hers that the Shadow King also knew, committed suicide recently, and the Shadow King thinks Hisako could have done more to save him.
We didn't notice. No, we didn't care to listen to his cries for help. We could have saved Tsubasa if we had bothered to hear him, but we turned away. Admit it. We killed Tsubasa. You know that. You just don't want to take responsibility. That's why you stopped coming to school. I quit running from my problems. My eyes are open. The time for sorrow is over. Now is the time for vengeance.
As she tries to bike home in a panic, seeing and hearing visions of Tsubasa, she rides into the path of an oncoming car. However, she is saved when the glowing, pink form of a samurai warrior emerges from her like an aura, crushing the car. This was when my life changed. I would never be normal again. Everything I had tried to avoid came crashing down all at once. I was so scared. The following day, the two confront each other again. After being questioned about his true motives, the Shadow King attacks Hisako, bringing forth her armor powers again, which crushes Shadow King's astral form as he tells her that his curse is already in motion. Hisako, it's been a while. You were good friends with Tsubasa, right? So, you know that teacher, right? Tsubasa's coach? He hung himself this morning. Did you know already? Everyone's talking about it. There's all these rumors that he bullied Tsubasa. Anyways, I thought you'd want to know. Are you there? Hello? Ultimate Spider-Man number 4. April. Peter and MJ meet Harry Osborn for dinner a few weeks after Peter and Harry's first meeting, and they're joined by Harry's wife, Gwen Stacy. Editor's note, this is a very dialogue-heavy issue that I encourage reading in full. I'm not going to monologue for this whole segment, so I'm just skipping along past some less integral but good for character-building dialogue here. Harry and Gwen say that they haven't had kids yet due to the kind of world they'd be bringing kids into, before asking MJ about her new public relations firm. MJ used to model, but realized that people really liked when she handled her own branding. It talks about how she eventually ended up working for a crisis management firm that Norman Osborn had used a few times, one that MJ found uncomfortable to work for, hence her departure. Excitedly, MJ tells the pair that she's been helping J.J. Jameson and Uncle Ben with their new paper, which has finally decided on a new name. The Paper. We cut to J.J. and Ben talking about it, with Richard confirming that the name is meant to both be ironic as well as meta. Jameson is just glad it isn't a stupid acronym like PAPR. Back at the restaurant, Harry makes a sarcastic joke about needing more news in his life and hopes things do go well, having worries about the local market being closed system. Gwen identifies that the masked vigilante must exist for a reason. She'd like to think he's not a bad guy, but the idea that he might be a good guy might be more upsetting because it implies something is wrong with the world, but she thinks heroes might be needed. Back at Peter's house, Richard tells Ben that May doesn't really like Mr. Jameson, and Ben asks what he thinks. Richard thinks the paper idea is cool and that people should read more. At the restaurant, Gwen and MJ talk in the bathroom. Gwen worries she's coming off too strong, and when MJ says she isn't, says that that's good because she has a favor to ask. She has a lot of excess funds after the Stain-Stark merger and wants to know if she can support JJJ and Ben, saying she wants to see if she can launch a pirate ship. In the dining room, Harry clocks that Peter hasn't told MJ about his heroics yet and says that he told Gwen everything. No secrets between the two of them. Peter tries to make the point about secrets protecting his family, but Harry doesn't think that will protect any of them from consequences. It's on all of us, pal. To do what? Save the world? Well, thank God. For a second there, I thought you were going to lay something heavy on me, but you need to understand where this is headed and what we're up against. These people, they're playing God, and they're playing for keeps. And worse than that, they've been doing it our whole lives. It's institutional, it's systemic, it's the whole damn world, and you have great power, Peter, and with great power comes great responsibility. It's such a gift, but only if you use it. Peter and MJ walk home, discussing the Osborns. What'd you think about what they're saying? About the world needing heroes? What do I need heroes for, Peter? I've got you. Ultimate Black Panther, number 3. Shuri spars with one of her own robots. It's been a month since anyone has heard from T'Challa, and her and Okoye spar while discussing T'Challa's secrecy. Just tell me, is he on the right path? He believes he is. T'Challa is safe, living with Killmonger and Storm. Killmonger is a child of Wakanda, who left it due to a desire to help the other nations of Africa against Wakanda's isolationism. I got tired of sleeping in paradise while people who looked like me suffered in the world beyond it, and I got tired of being told that I should be proud to do so. The Black Panther protects the innocent. So it is said, let's turn our minds from the innocent to the guilty. Tonight, Aurora and I want to show you what our enemies truly seek, and it is not in Wakanda. Killmonger leads T'Challa to a mysterious ruin in an underground mine full of vibranium, within which his suit stops obeying his commands. Storm helps bring the two down to the bottom of the tunnel, revealing ruins T'Challa has no knowledge of. The underground ruins are allegedly from a culture older than Wakanda, and at its heart is a giant orb of a mysterious green element. Mother Bast. No, son of Wakanda, I don't know what is here, but I know your god is not. And what is here cannot fall into the hands of our enemies. Ultimate X-Men, number 2. Hisako has been lying in bed, thinking of Tsubasa and conversations where she feels she should have noticed how bad he was feeling, but didn't. Are you serious? Drop out of school? It's kind of punk rock. After being reminded to go to her motorcycle class and pick up eggs, she meets May, who knows that Hisako was the one from the car accident. Having woken up with a new mysterious note in her hand to meet her at an abandoned school, she asks May to come with. What did this old school have to do with your car crash anyway? I got a similar note right before the accident, telling me to go to a temple. When I got there, this creepy shadow guy started talking about vengeance. May thinks that Hisako sounds like a superhero. They're confronted by a night guard, but before he can really confront them, the three find a room covered in ufuda and ritual magic implements, candles, and stuffed animals dripping with liquid. The Shadow King appears and says that the boys who bullied Tsubasa won't bother anyone again. Hisako tells the night guard that the Shadow King is a killer, but the guard is revealed to be an amalgamation of worms held into shape, who is blown apart as May reveals her powers of wind to control, and Hisako reveals her armor powers as well. The two return home. Meanwhile, a young man in a cramped room covered in ufuda, similar to what the girls found, and wearing a bowl on his head, reflects on a drawing of Hisako. The next day, the news reports on the suicide of the three boys who bullied Tsubasa. At Hisako's first day of high school, she discovers that May is her classmate, and they make proper introductions to one another. And that's the first part of 2024 in the new Ultimate Universe. So let's recap. Peter Parker, whose powers were taken as a kid, has gained them at last, designed his costume with his daughter's help, and gained a friend against the problems he's facing in Harry Osborn. T'Challa has been thrown into the world outside of his kingdom and is unraveling secrets older than Wakanda with two new rebellious friends, and Hisako has made her first new friend since her friend Tsubasa died, and is trying to figure out just what the Shadow King wants from her and what these new powers mean. A good start to some new stories if you ask me. Stay tuned for next time for part 3, May to August 2024.